Okay, one thing that I did wrong is that I actually did not save as the base project. This is the classic mistake. So I'm just gonna go Control C with this. Woohoo. Okay, so the base project, as I mentioned, I think previous classes should have, you should save as your base project so you can work in it in depth. Again, fail save as, file save as, and call it project, whatever, E, for example. Sometimes it's tricky because you enter a view here and you say, well, how can I get out of this very strong perspective view? You can just go to set view and back to perspective, and it goes to the default setting of the perspective, and that way you can actually work. Another thing is sometimes you have your project far away and you can't really get there. You're trying, and you can't. The best way is to use the zoom extend, C, enter, and then E, enter, and it will zoom into whatever you have in the screen. So then you can orbitate around that object in a very nice and smooth way. Okay. Okay, so the second one is with chamber works. We're going to talk about tracing world. Okay, tracing world. And that's a little bit of going from Illustrator to Rhino and extruding as well, or using other commands with an outcome from Illustrator. Okay, that means that we need to go to Illustrator, and here you're going to start a new file. I want to just use for now the letter size file. And basically you need to go to Google Chrome or whatever you use in Safari and just search for anything you want. I'll use the sky because they did it other times. So you get an idea. Search for an image, and what we're going to do is actually trace it. Trace any image you want. You might want to use a pattern. Actually, that could be a nice thing. Strong pattern where there's difference of 2 colors or more than 2 colors. Those are useful. Let's see if this one works. Save as. And in what we're going to do is place it here in the file in Illustrator. So I'm going to say place. I'm going to search for that pattern or that image that you. Let me see where I saved it. Oh, I saved it somewhere else. There we go. There it is. Okay. So when you place an image, I mean, there's 2 ways that you can go about it. If you see this X, you need to actually embed. Okay, so just embed it to make sure. If you don't see the X, you're fine. It's already embedded, depending on the settings of how you place things. We're going to work with this image trace. Maybe Illustrator does not have this. To see that, there are 2 ways to go about it. Window. Make sure your workspace set to Essential Classics, and I think you will see all of that on top. If you still don't see it, you can go to Window and search for Live Trace, I think it is, or Image Trace here, which opens up this little window. You can dock here, and it has this kind of image. It's almost like a circle with a trace in line. It looks like this. This and that we saw before is exactly the same. Okay, so regardless, you can do whatever you want. The way you go about it is you select the image, and then you see this image trace there or down here. You can expand, and you will have different options to trace this. Trace means, hey, this is a JPEG, therefore a pixelated image. I want vectors. I want to be able to work with vectors later on. As we talked about, most of these images are pixels, so we can't actually select, we cannot extrude anything from here. How do we get vectors from pixels? And that's the image trace command in Illustrator. You can trace in many ways, and you probably should try different options. You can have high fidelity, low fidelity. Every time you click, it starts thinking because it has to process a lot of information. And now if I zoom in, this is a world of vectors. So it's a way of transforming a pixel world to a vector world. Okay, this was the, I think it was the high fidelity. Let's see 3 colors. Now, obviously, I only have like a black and white pattern. If you have colors, you will start actually understanding color code as well. So that's why there's so many options here, because you could respect more colors, less colors, etc., etc. If I use silhouettes, let's see what happens. It's similar to. Anyway, there are many options here. I'm just going to select that one for now. Okay, so this is a vector world. So there should be a way to take this to Rhino and actually use it as material. Why not? You can use it also for any other purpose. You could actually take it to InDesign for a panel board and do a 3-dimensional pattern, or you could actually do a lot of things with it that relates to 3-dimensionality. Or you just leave it like is. It has a different feel to it because it's much sharper than the JPEG, and it probably is better resolution in that sense. Okay, once you do the live trace that you like, I will try to keep it simple. You need to expand. Expand means, hey, give me the vectors. And there you go. You can also, if you want to ungroup this, you don't have to, but you can get the different parts if they're separated. This one is separated now, which I can delete. The other one is all connected. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to call it trace 1 or similar and say okay. Okay. Can I take this to Rhino? Well, in theory, I should be able to import this directly. Let's see if it works or if we have to take it some other way. There you go. Okay, so I imported. I go here, and this is vectors. No? Let's see if I can explode this. Now I have all of these little lines, and I think I can even explode it again. Let me see if that works. Maybe it's group, so we might want to do the other command, ungroup. So again, I explode it and ungroup. Huh. Let's see if this works. These are quite complex. Mm-hmm. Notice how I did extrude curves. So extrude, let's see if this works. And I can select a bunch of curves or all of them if I want, but maybe all of them is a lot for this, so be careful with this. I'm gonna extrude, see if that works. It gives me this interesting kind of extrusions. Let me try to do even more, see if that works. Extrude all of them except exterior. I'm gonna press Control to get rid of the exterior one. It becomes heavy. So if you're actually dealing with a very sophisticated tracing, it could become super heavy. So if you're extruding here and it tells you something like, hey, it's intersecting or self-intersecting, maybe you want to take a smaller portion of curves and extrude less curves, or you want to go back and trace a different image that's a bit simpler, or trace it in a different way. But here's the moment of truth. Like if you extrude and it tells you, well, I'm not going to do that. It's probably because it's just too much for the machine to handle them. I was lucky, and I got that one working. I'm gonna take a little down there. And I mean, this could be as simple as that and do a Boolean difference as a project. Again, one and then all of the other ones. And again, it's computed a lot of geometry, so it's going to take some time. It's telling me that, you know, I'm having trouble with this stuff. But anyway, there you have. It's not necessarily that this is a great project, but this could be a project, you know. I would recommend that you play with scale values and so on. For example, I might want to actually scale this a bit more. Maybe to select some of those and take them down. Now take it to wireframe, maybe in top view, and why not delete some of them to give a bit more, I guess, variation to the obvious pattern. I don't necessarily need those that are outside. It's just, you know, computing time. And I kind of like this one, so maybe I'll save one of those, copy it in the middle. Okay. Back to shaded mode. Nice. So that could give me another project. Why not? Boolean intersection, for example. And that could be a nice project. Imagine walking between columns in an exhibition type of space that you can get lost in a semi-labyrinthic space. Some of those could be shorter, other ones could be long, taller, whatever it is. I could also do the negative of that with the Boolean difference. I don't think it computed these ones. There you go. So that's the negative of that. So those could be like pockets of space, or as you think, whatever you think is best. I could also go a little bit funky and select those, and again, do a rotation and copy of those, and maybe scale them and take them up or down here. Intersection. It's going to go crazy. So this is a mix of vertical towers, but there's also a couple of those horizontal, like a mountain thing. Anyway, I think you get the idea. It's funkiness, it's interesting. We don't know where this could go later on, but it's not the point. It's something that you find compelling, different, exciting, exotic, whatever you want to put in there. Search for some variation, some changes in scale, proportions, elegance, whatever you want. So that will be, I'm done with this project. No curves are around, so I can start doing the process of make 2D. Again, go to the videos that talk about the process from Rhino to InDesign, and I think they're called Final 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording that.